It begins before the cold, before the hunger, before the silence took shape. It begins with a whisper, low, brittle, like old wood breaking under snow. A voice no one heard, but everyone obeyed. The voice of winter. Close your eyes. There is no history book open in front of you. There is no documentary. There are no scholars. Only breath. Yours. And it's fogging the air. You are no longer here. You are nowhere modern exists. There is no glass, no steel, no hum of machines. There is only wood, dirt, wind, smoke. Snow is falling, not like in poems. It doesn't dance. It falls heavy, fast, wet. It doesn't wait for beauty. It buries it. You step outside, and the cold doesn't greet you. It claims you. Not with violence, but with certainty. The same way the sea swallows a stone. Quiet. Absolute. In the distance, a crow cries. But it's not a warning. It's just alive. And being alive here is already resistance. There are no legends to remember what this moment feels like. No epics to honor a man who simply stayed warm through the night. No monuments to the sound of shivering. But you are here now, and for a moment, just one, you can remember what they forgot. This is not fiction. This is memory, and it's cold. So cold. Now, breathe in. Slowly. You may enter. You wake before the sun dares to rise, not because you want to, but because the cold won't let you sleep any longer. Your back aches from the floor beneath you, not tatami, but a thin layer of straw that has grown damp overnight. It smells of rot and quiet despair. There is no blanket, no warmth, only the fragile illusion that the shivering will stop if you just stay still enough. But stillness only invites the cold deeper into your bones. You are not the kind of samurai the scrolls speak of. No banners fly for you. No battles are fought with your name on the wind. You are the kind history forgot, a man of duty, left with nothing but silence, cold air, and a sword that rusts quietly beside the door. They called your life glorious once. Now it is something else entirely. Your feet are cracked and numb. Your joints, stiff with frost, refuse to obey. Each morning begins with the same silent question. Will you survive this day? Again? There is no battlefield today, only the battlefield of breath. The wind shrieks through the walls like an angry spirit. It does not whisper, it howls, biting at the wooden slats and threading itself through every crack. You place your hands near the ember of the fire, what remains of it, and feel nothing. Not warmth, not hope, just smoke and shame. Your robe clings to your body like regret. It smells of weeks of sweat and ash. You haven't changed it in days, maybe weeks. Who counts time in a house where nothing grows, and even the rats seem to pity you? You once held your sword like a badge of honor. Now it rests near the door, not to protect, but to keep the rodents from gnawing the hilt again. They are not afraid of you anymore. You are no threat, just another breathing corpse. The rice you eat is frozen in the bowl. You scrape it with your chopsticks until your fingers sting. Miso soup has become a memory, one that floats in your dreams and vanishes by morning. Your stomach has learned to wait. Your body has learned to be ignored. Even the chickens, if you still have them, have stopped laying. Even they know better. The firewood is gone. The fire itself is more idea than reality now. A ghost you still feed with scraps. Your wife's hands tremble as she sews another patch onto your child's coat, though you both know the cold will find its way in. Your son sleeps beneath 3 layers of cloth and still whimpers in his dreams. There is no room for tears here, only silence. You bow at the altar in the morning, not because you believe the gods are listening, but because it's the only thing left to do. You were trained to endure, to serve, to fight, but no one prepared you for this. No master warned you that the cold would be your fiercest enemy, that it would take your dignity grain by grain, until even standing up feels like an act of rebellion. You used to think of enemies as men. Now they are elements, wind, hunger, time, all stronger than you. There are no scrolls written about this life, no songs, no poetry, only the endless repetition of trying, failing, and trying again. Your bed gives you splinters, your lungs give you coughs, your dreams no longer carry swords, but spoons. Every day begins the same. You wake, you shiver, you feed the silence, you hope the child's cough doesn't get worse. You bow your head and pray without words. You curse the gods softly. You count the breaths that don't come with frost. You listen for signs of death, yours or someone else's. But somehow you endure. You move through the day as if carrying your ancestors on your back. Their footsteps echo through your bones. You wonder if they too cursed the same sky, if they too dreamed of spring not as a season, but a salvation. This is not a story of conquest. It's a story of endurance, a story without glory. And tonight, under lights that hum and blankets that comfort, someone finally remembers you. Someone closes their eyes and feels the floor beneath them, the straw, the cold, the silence. They imagine your cane. They see your fight, the one no one sang about. And for a brief moment, you are not invisible. You do not awaken. You return. From a shallow sleep so fractured, it feels like a punishment. The cold didn't let you drift far. It kept tugging at your skin all night, like a persistent ghost you couldn't outrun. Your eyelids are stuck together with the frost of your own breath. You open them slowly, only to find the same gray ceiling above you. Cracked wood, brittle as your faith. The first sound you hear is silence, vast and hollow, like a bell that never stops ringing. The air is so dry it scrapes your throat before you even try to speak. Not that there's anyone to speak to yet. Your wife sleeps beside you, or at least pretends to. Her back is curled to the wall, seeking a warmth it doesn't give. A single blanket, rice-stuffed and threadbare, covers you both like an apology. It's heavy with damp and smells like mildew, soot, and old body. Not a single patch of your skin feels warm. Not even your chest, not even your breath. You try to move your fingers, and they crack, small joints complaining, tendons resisting like rusted hinges. You clench your fists, not for strength, but just to prove they're still yours. Your nose is the first to surrender. It stings, runs, crusts. You wipe it on your sleeve without thinking. It no longer matters. Dignity is a luxury, like a second blanket or a full bowl of rice. The cold here is not the kind that comes and goes. It is the kind that settles in. It lives in your walls. It watches you. It waits for you to slow down just enough to enter through the seams. You sit up slowly, and everything groans. Your back, your knees, the floor beneath you. Straw pokes through the thin tatami mat, now swollen with moisture. Your kimono, laid beside you overnight, is stiff. You shake it, and it barely moves, like a frozen flag refusing to surrender. When you slip it on, it bites you. The fabric is coarse, unforgiving. You wrap the sash tight, not to feel secure, but to trap whatever body heat you haven't yet lost. The window is covered with paper, now cracked and curling. A wind seeps through the tear near the corner, dancing across the room with malicious glee. You glance at the brazier in the corner, empty. Just blackened ash in a wooden box. No charcoal left, not even enough to warm your hands. You tried burning dried leaves last week. They smoked, coughed, and died, like everything else in this house. Outside, the light is pale and sickly, like the sky itself has caught a fever. Snow hasn't fallen in days, but it lingers, frozen in place, refusing to melt, refusing to give way. The world is white, but not pure. It is a white of starvation, of endings. You rise, legs trembling. The floor beneath your feet is cold enough to burn. You walk anyway. Your soles are cracked, heels split like old bark. Every step is a quiet argument with pain. Your breath fogs before you, then disappears. That is how you mark your presence here. In mist, in warmth that cannot stay. You don't speak, you just move. You don't have the luxury of rest or the audacity of comfort. This is how mornings begin. Cold, quiet, and without promise. The only miracle is that your heart still beats, though even it sounds tired now. By the time you reach the basin to splash your face, the water has turned to ice. You stare into it for a moment, not your reflection, but the crack running through the surface. You press a finger to it, and the pain shoots through you like a warning. Even here, even now, you are not safe. You chip away just enough to wet your hands. The shock is immediate. Your body recoils, your jaw tightens. But you wash anyway. Cleanliness is not for comfort, it's for control. The last thing they can't take from you, not yet. This is how your day begins. Not with hope, not with hunger, not with ambition, but with survival. Pure and unadorned. You are a samurai, yes, but you are also a man. And today, you will walk through this cold as if it were just another command. Because it is, and you do not disobey. You kneel before the hearth where no fire lives. The pot, blackened by years of hope, sits idle. Its belly is empty, and yet you open the lid and look inside, a gesture more habit than expectation. There is no rice today. You already knew that, but looking makes it real, and real things are easier to endure than imagined ones. You feel the silence of the kitchen like a second skin. It clings to your arms, climbs your back, coils around your ribs. The silence of no boiling water, no chopping knife, no sizzling. Just the quiet patience of starvation. The grain sack in the corner is folded neatly, like a ceremonial robe with nothing inside. You touch it anyway. Rough cloth, the smell of old soy, faint traces of life. You lift it and shake, not for food, but for the sound. A single pebble of millet rolls out like a lost tooth. You pick it up, turn it between your fingers. So small, so defiant. You place it in your mouth. It has no taste, only texture, like sand that reminds you you're still made of flesh, not spirit. Your wife joins you, silent. She doesn't ask, you don't explain. Her eyes do not meet yours because there's no new answer to give. She pours hot water from a kettle left warming by the charcoal ashes last night. The water isn't hot anymore, just less cold. She pours it into 2 chipped bowls and adds a shred of pickled radish to yours. You don't ask why. You drink it like tea, like medicine, like prayer. The salt stings your cracked lips. Your tongue searches for something more and finds nothing. Still, you drink. Outside, the village creaks to life, but it sounds tired. Doors slide, buckets knock, children cough. A dog barks, then stops, perhaps remembering there's nothing left to guard. You chew the radish slowly. Its sourness wakes your senses, which is both a gift and a curse. Hunger is quiet when you ignore it. Taste reminds it to scream again. You hold the bowl with 2 hands, not out of reverence, but to warm your palms. Your son, barely 12, steps into the room. His feet are silent, but his ribs speak loudly through his kimono. He bows, you nod. He doesn't ask for food. He knows the ritual. Instead, he waits. For the water, the radish, the nothing. He drinks slower than you, savoring what should not need savoring. His face does not complain. That's the part that hurts most. Not that he suffers, but that he has learned how to suffer so well. You remember meat. You remember rice. You remember plum wine and roasted chestnuts and the texture of steamed buns. But memories don't cook. They only season the present with cruelty. Your stomach tightens around itself like a snake that forgot how to hunt. The heat in your mouth fades fast, leaving only breath and bitterness. You finish the last drop. Not full, not satisfied, just done. Hunger is never defeated, only postponed. You rise, place the bowl down, and bow slightly. To the emptiness, to the act, to whatever gods are watching. You don't thank them, but you acknowledge their gaze. Because if you don't, you might forget you're still human. And that, more than hunger, is the true danger of this life. Now you must dress for duty. Because whether your stomach is hollow or your soul is tired, the world still demands your presence. And absence, in your rank, is a louder disgrace than death.
The fire dies long before you do. You watch it fade as the last ember curls into ash, the way your thoughts do when your eyes begin to close, not gently, but like a gate slamming shut. Sleep here is not rest, it is escape, and even that you must earn. You don't undress. There's nothing to change into. The robe you wore to cut wood, to feed the chickens, to pray, to mourn, it is the same one that holds you now. Smoke lives in the threads, and under that, the sour breath of weeks without washing. But your skin no longer complains. It's too numb to protest. You lie on straw that pokes through the thin mat. Some pieces are moldy. Others are stiff as broken arrows. You try to find the familiar hollows your body has carved over time. Tonight, they feel sharper. The blanket, if it deserves the name, is damp again. Not from rain, From breath, sweat, sorrow, its weight is symbolic. It covers you, but offers no promise. Your wife slides under it beside you. Her back presses against yours. That pressure is the only warmth left. You hold your hands close to your chest. They smell of charred wood and desperation. The nails are chipped, the knuckles cracked. Once, these hands held a sword. Now, they curl around emptiness and hope it doesn't bite. Sleep comes slowly. It does not embrace you. It lurks like a thief, waiting until you're too tired to resist. And when it finally arrives, it brings dreams with frostbite. Half-formed memories freeze before they finish. You see your mother's face, and then she's a stranger. You hear a river, and then it's the wind through the cracks again. You are always cold in your dreams, even when they pretend to be summer. Rats scurry along the beams above. One drops onto the floor with a sound so casual it might be part of the routine. They are no longer intruders, they are neighbors. One finds its way to the corner of your bedding. You feel it near your foot, the soft tickle of whiskers, the blunt pressure of a snout. You do not move. You do not scream. You whisper a prayer it doesn't chew through skin tonight. Once, you struck one with your tanto, a clean cut. It twitched, bled, stilled. You buried it, not out of pity, but to keep your child from asking if it was dinner. Tonight, you let it be. Let it sniff. Let it stay. It is warmer than the air. Outside, the wind shifts. A new howl slips through the wooden slats, sharper than before, colder. Your body curls tighter. You reach for your wife, but her hands are already clenched in fists beneath her chin. Her breathing is shallow, not sleep, just resignation. Dawn does not announce itself with light, only with a grayness that leaks through the paper walls like sorrow too tired to stay hidden. You wake with a cough. It tastes like soot and surrender. The fire is still dead. Your feet are colder than your thoughts. Your back aches. Your mouth is dry. But you are alive. You sit up slowly. Bones pop, muscles protest. There is no comfort in waking, only duty. You whisper a quiet thank you, not to any god, but to the body that hasn't yet betrayed you completely. Another day begins. Another night survived. That, here, is its own kind of victory.
You remember the sound, though you haven't heard it in months. Your son's laugh, bubbling out in crooked fits as he chased a dragonfly across a rice field. That was before the frost, before the hunger. Now the only sound he makes is the sharp exhale when he splits wood, or the shallow grunt when lifting a pail too heavy for his frame. Laughter died before the first snow touched the ground. There are no toys here, not anymore. A rock becomes a hammer. A stick becomes a knife. Play is a distant language your children have forgotten how to speak. The only game left is endurance. Your son sharpens bamboo spears with a seriousness that shouldn't live in the eyes of a child. Not for hunting, there's nothing left to hunt. Only rats, only defense. Sometimes you hear him whisper to the weapon like it's a friend. It's the only voice he trusts now. Your daughter's hands bleed from cold water and rough cloth. She scrubs the same garments daily, though they never feel clean, only wetter, only colder. Her fingers are red, her skin cracked like old porcelain. When she looks up at you, it's not with innocence, but with fatigue. She does not ask for dolls. She does not ask for stories. She asks if the rice will cook faster today. You taught them to bow before they could count, taught them to be silent before they learned to ask why. The rules were not cruel, they were necessary. In silence, there is safety. In stillness, there is warmth. Crying wastes breath. Complaining invites shame. So your children learned to endure, with grace far beyond their years. It was the only way to survive the kind of winter that didn't care how small or soft you were. At night, you tell stories. Not the ones with heroes and temples and celestial foxes. Those are too cruel now. Instead, you speak of quiet fishermen, of mothers who held their babies through the snow, of children who became stone and lived to see the thaw. These stories end without triumph. They end without magic. But your children listen anyway. They know these endings are honest. You remember your own childhood, how your father never smiled, how your mother wrapped your feet in cloth while whispering apologies, how you swore your children would never carry the same weight. And now, here they are, hunched, silent, wide-eyed, mirrors of your past. There is no betrayal in it, only the quiet return of what was never resolved. Your son asked once, "Why do we have to suffer if the gods are watching?" You didn't answer. You just pulled him closer and whispered, "Because they watch from far away." He didn't ask again. There is no rebellion in their bones, only rhythm. They wake, they work, they wait. You want to tell them it won't always be like this, but the words taste dishonest. So you stay silent. They understand. You didn't raise warriors. There was no battlefield left for that. You raised survivors, children who learned to spot mold before it spread, who measured time by the length of a candle, who wept without sound. And that, in this world, is enough.
There is warmth around you now. You shift slightly, and the blanket adjusts. Soft, clean, thick. The kind that never smelled of smoke or mildew. You sip tea. It's hot, not lukewarm, not boiled in desperation over dying embers, but hot, as if comfort was your right, not a miracle. Your feet touch a smooth floor. Your walls do not groan when the wind rises. And yet, somewhere inside you, the cold lingers. You have central heating now, slippers, a mattress that embraces instead of resists. But these luxuries float atop the silence of generations who never had them. Someone, nameless, faceless, once lay awake under straw, not dreaming of wealth, not dreaming of escape, but simply begging for the fire to last the night. That someone was a samurai, not the kind with lacquered armor and cherry blossoms, the other kind, the forgotten kind. The one whose war was not with other men, but with time, frost, and hunger. You don't know his name. No one does. History wrote poetry about battles and glory, but never about chilblains or cracked lips, or the unbearable weight of knowing the firewood would not last until dawn. That samurai, he had no enemies left to fight, and yet, every day he lost something. Feeling in his fingers, faith in the gods, joy in his child's eyes. Still, he endured. He never left. He never screamed. That endurance, it burns differently. It does not make statues or stories, but it carved the world you now living. He froze under the same moon that watches you tonight. He shivered so his son could grow strong. He starved so his daughter could remember a father who stayed. And now, you sit in the light, warm, full, clean, and he lingers. Not as a ghost, not as a warning,
but as a breath in your memory. He doesn't ask for your sorrow. He does not crave your pity. He simply wants you to know he was here. Every time you complain about the cold, he is there, silent, smiling faintly at your fragility. Every time your tea grows cold and you grumble, he hears it and remembers when even warm water was a fantasy. You do not need to light incense. You do not need to bow. Just remember. That's enough to keep his fire alive.